All right, for my final video of the day, barring some breaking news or something on Monday in the afternoon, I have to run out into my car and do a video or something. Bitcoin. I just briefly mentioned in my first video, I think, how it was around 1,300 and then dropped to 1,000. Boom. It's already back to 1,238 or whatever I said it was in that video. 2 days later, after Friday. You want to talk about a fast recovery. And like I said, the markets aren't even open. The markets aren't open. Then again, Bitcoin, I guess it is, because you can transfer it anytime, any place, anywhere. As long as you have your little wallet app and an internet connection, you can transfer them, you can sell them, you can buy them. We don't need no stinking Wall Street, right? But I do want to mention one thing first from Zero Hedge 2. Bank loan creation suddenly tumbles to 5-year low. Well, what happened? We're about to get on the biggest debt binge ever, aren't we? All the free money the banks got, near zero interest rates, they lent out to us. We had our 3.5% mortgage rates. I mean, come on. What are you talking about? While the overall economy appears to be humming along, at least according to the Fed, which on Wednesday is expected with 100% certainty, according to the market, to hike rates by another 0.25% for the second time in 3 months on concerns it has fallen behind the inflationary curve, with last week's payrolls report providing some validation despite prevailing weakness within hard data in recent months, offset by soaring soft, or what I like to call hopium, sentiment reports. One area of material concern has emerged: a sudden collapse in loan growth in general, and the all-important commercial and industrial loan segment in particular. A drop which the Wall Street Journal recently dubbed an ominous economic signal, and blamed policy uncertainty under Trump for the collapse in growth. Of course, see? Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Bloomberg, The Club. Not so much Bloomberg, but blame it on Trump, blame it on Trump. So here we go. Wall Street Journal. It is an ominous economic signal. Oh, what kind of signal? Ominous what? What does it mean, Wall Street Journal? Oh, it means everything I've been talking about for the last several years? That I'm telling you, inching closer. Don't worry, it'll come. I know you hear me talking and nothing happened yet. Just wait, it's coming. And I'm telling you, it's practically knocking on the door right now. While the jury is out on whether Trump is at fault, after all, Trump has managed to reportedly spark a historic, as JP Morgan called it, animal spirits rally in the S&P, while prompting a record number of people to re-enter the labor force in the past 2 months. Here are the facts. Total loans and leases by U.S. commercial banks are currently rising at an annual pace of about 4.6%, based on weekly Fed data. That is down from 6.4% pace for all of last year and peak rates of around 8% in mid-2016. This is the slowest pace of debt creation since the spring of 2014. While the deceleration has been broad-based across business, real estate, and consumer lending, and, as the Wall Street Journal notes, is at odds with the idea of a stronger economy and rising sentiment. Right? So, hopium, feel good, great news, Trump's going to make America great again, and then data. That's down, that's down, that's down, that's down, and that's down, and that's looking terrible. Forget that. Let's go with hopium on this one. Jason 4, go ahead. Ding, 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 ding. I'll take hopium for $200, please. In 2017, the sheeple of the world, for the most part, were very excited about which president, who is Trump. Got it. Yes. Anyways, Bitcoin. Let's talk about what I came here to really talk about. Bitcoin. Bitcoin has surged back, again, Zero Hedge is covering this, above $1,200, pretty much erasing the ETF denial losses. And I remember hearing some things, if that thing's turned down, that's it for Bitcoin, it's over. Oh, that was fast, about as fast as you can flip a light switch off and back on. Oh, there it is. And like I said, had the web bot not been talking about Bitcoin going with these big crocodile teeth up, down, on its way massively up, I might actually consider like, oh yeah, the ETF didn't happen. What's everybody saying? The experts, what are they saying? Oh my God, maybe I should sell my Bitcoin. But I know way better than that. Webbot has been so accurate with Bitcoin price movements, even the timing. I can't even believe it. Which is why I ain't selling none, and I bought another one, as I told you the other day. Now I have 6.2. Thank you. And again, I do share three of those with somebody. Bitcoin is once again trading above above the price of an ounce of gold. As Friday's collapse in the virtual currency after the Securities and Exchange Commission's decision to deny an application for a Bitcoin ETF has now been erased. Well, that de-escalated quickly. Perhaps the dip buyers know something the ETF demand hopers don't. The point is, as Jameson Lopp writes at Coindesk.com, nobody understands Bitcoin, and that's okay. In this guest feature, Lopp provides a deep dive into whether Bitcoin can truly be understood as a technology, coming up with more questions than answers and delivering an impassioned appeal to open-mindedness in exploration. When I first became interested in Bitcoin, I found myself spending countless hours absorbing as much information about it as possible, trying to put all of the pieces together. After years of learning, I now devote a fair amount of my time trying to help others understand Bitcoin better. While many people have referred to me as a Bitcoin expert, I still consider myself a student. I have yet to determine how deep the rabbit hole goes. Andreas Antonopoulos had this to say about explaining and thus understanding Bitcoin. I wrote a book that answers the question, what is Bitcoin? It's 300 pages long, was obsolete the moment it was printed, and has to be corrected and updated every 3 months just to keep up with the changes. The multifaceted nature of Bitcoin. With enough studying, you can teach yourself how Bitcoin currently works from a technical standpoint. I maintain a list of educational resources that is sufficient to keep anyone busy for several months in pursuit of this goal. However, this approach of information ingestion will only expose the tip of the Bitcoin iceberg. So, do you really want to know the ins and outs and 300 pages? For me, I'm a technical IT. Sometimes I really want to delve into something. How does this thing work? The insides, the outsides. I want to know everything about it. And then there's those things where I say, man, I really don't want to spend that kind of time researching that damn thing. All I know is it really works. Webbot, for example. I don't want to have to spend my time, I could imagine emailing Cliff millions of questions and how does it do that and what do you do with it? Just to find out the fine-tuning, not fine-tuning, but the fine process of how the Webbot works. And I don't have time for that. I know the basic premise and maybe a little deeper premise. I can explain exactly how he thinks it works as he's explained it to everybody. And damn it, all I know is the thing has some kind of accuracy rating that is not normally able to be done by chance. 50-50 chance. No, it isn't. Therefore, I'm fascinated by it. Tell me more. What else is it saying, right? That's all I want to care about. Could you imagine if I came out and did a Bitcoin video or a summary of the Webbot every time, or every time I did one, I start off with exactly how it worked and when he got started and this is how that happened. And most people are like, just shut your face and do the summary. We already know. I give people a little bit extra because I know there's new subscribers as it currently stands, which I'm happy about, by the way. I'm getting 50, as of the latest check, 51 gained new subscribers every day over the past 20 days or so. That's great because my average used to be about 30. So Jason at 4, good job, buddy. My subscribers, thanks for subscribing. But I understand, well, in a month, from 1 month to the next, when I do the Webbot summaries as they come out, 50, if the 50 stays the way it is, 50 a day times 30 days in a month, 5 times 3, 1,500. There's 1,500 new people that might not know what the hell I'm talking about. So that's why I get into some of the detail. And I know some of you are like, oh, whatever, just go on with it. You know, for everybody, 5 minutes into it, he starts talking about Bitcoin. Just keep doing that. If you want to fast forward 5 minutes, I like to explain to the new people because I don't want to leave anybody out. Anyways, and the same goes with Bitcoin. And I get people emailing me, what about this? What about the Bitcoin? Well, check my video out here. Check that one out. One challenge to understanding Bitcoin is that it is multifaceted, cross-disciplinary system that is consistently, or not consistently, but constantly evolving. Fernando Amatrano put it well. Why Bitcoin is hard to understand. At the crossroads of 1. Game theory, 2. Cryptography, 3. Computer networking and data transmission, and 4. Economic and monetary theory. Mainly not a technology, a cultural paradigm shift instead. Fernando hints a key point that I'll be delving into. Bitcoin is not just a technology, it's a technology that represents something even less tangible. Bitcoin is a living protocol that emerges from a melting pot of ideas, philosophies, cultures, and politics after they undergo trial by fire. You can read The Rise of the Cypherpunks to learn how we came to where we are today. Satoshi's understanding of Bitcoin. He was really the mind, essentially the creator, the theory, etc. Satoshi. Writing a description for this thing for general audiences is bloody hard. There's nothing to relate to it, or relate it to. That's what he said, 2010. Even Satoshi didn't fully understand what he built with regard to Bitcoin's security model. He, or she, ended up fixing a multitude of bugs in the first few years of Bitcoin's existence. After it was 18 months old, the rate of bug fixes had slowed down to the point that new vulnerabilities were categorized and documented. Let's cover a few of the flaws that were fixed before Bitcoin gained adopters. In the first versions of Bitcoin, anyone could spend anyone else's coins. The opcode, well, I'm not going to get into that. You don't need to hear about how the code did this or that. Satoshi fixed a major consensus flaw by changing the best chain logic from using the longest chain to using the chain with most proof of work. Technically, it could be argued that this was a hard fork, though it didn't actually cause a chain fork because the longest chain at the time was also the one with the most proof of work. Satoshi had also set the block size limit as protection against denial of service attacks. The block size was originally only implicitly limited by the network message size of 32 megabytes. Skipping over stuff you're not going to want to know about. And who could forget the value overflow bug that allowed someone to create 184 billion bitcoins? In my quest to find out more early Satoshi bugs that aren't well known, Greg Maxwell recalled a juicy one. In the early versions of Bitcoin, any user could hard fork any released versions from any other versions. This design flaw showed he didn't fully understand the required conditions for safe upgrades when it was first released, but his fix showed he did understand them later. So again, this is nothing out of the ordinary. You know, I talk to you sometimes, I tell you I developed this remote control program where you can remote control your PC from your house or from your home or work, vice versa, kind of like LogMe and TeamViewer or whatever. It's basically like remote desktop. When I first started developing that, and I had a working model, okay, working program, it actually works, I can connect, I had bugs. Got to fix that one. Okay, that's crashing, let me fix that one. Okay, that's not supposed to happen because if someone shared they were able to hack this account, they'd be able to log in. I can't do that. I got to make sure they're on their friends list first. Just fixing some things. Then it gets to a point where it's very stable. So stable release number 1. And ultimately Bitcoin got there. Okay. So he said, and like he says, software is never finished. You can tell how little Bitcoin is understood simply by the vast amount of research being done to analyze and improve upon it. And he says, Google Scholar articles published mentioning Bitcoin. 2009, there was only 83. And I'm going to go each year after that. 136, 218, 424, 1,390, 3,190, 3,670, 2016, 3,580. So again, a lot more people looking at it, trying to figure out what the hell it is, getting involved in it. Satoshi once stated that the core design was set in stone, and other implementations would be a menace to the network. People often take this quote and others from Satoshi and use it to fallaciously argue, via appeal to authority, that the Bitcoin protocol must evolve in a specific way. I pose to you that this was just another case where Satoshi was mistaken. As we've seen, Satoshi actually had to manage a lot of changes to Bitcoin as early developers were exploring the code and discovering edge cases. There are also over a half dozen Bitcoin client implementations running today that aren't disrupting the network. We have even seen that a single implementation can be a menace to the network when machine-level differences can cause consensus failures, as happened in 2013 with the Berkeley database chain fork. Finally, Hal Finney, released a number of his emails with Satoshi to the Wall Street Journal. They're an interesting read. You can see Satoshi's surprise as he manages to find several bugs that Satoshi had not anticipated, even though he did, in fact, test very heavily. I'm just going to scroll down a bit to get to some other stuff. The Tao of Bitcoin. Andreas once spoke about the noisy scaling debate. While it can be unpleasant, he should remember that it is the result of a feature rather than a flaw in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ecosystem participants should be humble when discussing it rather than confident that our understanding of the system is superior to that of others participating in the discussion. I, for one, have found my conversations to be more productive after making this realization. I've also wasted a lot less time by avoiding conversations that were clearly going to be unproductive due to the dogmatic views expressed by the other party. Let's go on a bit more. This is quite a long article. In short, Bitcoin is maturing and the market is starting to define what Bitcoin is going to be. I'm sure there are people on both sides of the debate that won't like what's going to become, because that's what you get with a decentralized currency. So it's a software program. Software programs have bugs. They've been worked out. This thing's been around. I think, again, it first came out in 2009 or 11 technically. And I'll say it again. How would you have liked to have been one of the people that got it for $2 as it's sitting here touching almost $1,300 again? I mean, if you bought 1,000 of them times $2, $2,000 your cost. You now have 1,000. You sell 1,300, 1.3 mil. Would you be okay with $1.3 million right now? Yes. And I know there's the Dashcoin thing, and somebody, I did my video saying, so-called expert. They had him on AMTV. Christopher Green had this lady on. She's the one I keep seeing over and over again with Dashcoin. Go with Dashcoin. And I replied on there, and I said, Bitcoin has been compromised, says Dashcoin, Bitcoin's competitor. Thumbs down on this one. Sorry, I was asked to interview her as well on my channel, but I declined. That was a while back that I declined. But I just posted this yesterday on Christopher Green's channel, AMTV. And it has 5 replies so far. But one guy says, look into the creator of Dashcoin's history. His name is Evan Duffield. He posted a job ad saying Dash was for profit and supposedly had 2 coins before Dash failed. One was called Darkcoin. He doesn't know the other name of the coin that failed. Also, I have a feeling Dash, this is his comment, I have a feeling Dash is Illuminati. The marketing is slick, but that to me seems to be a sign of Illuminati. I'm not saying I agree with that, just reading you his comment. Also, if you have 1,000 Dashcoin, you get a master node, and only those people get to make the decisions. And supposedly 1.5 million Dash were insta-mined when Dash first came out. Whoever has the master nodes makes decisions like how much you spend on marketing, developer salaries, etc. I just find it odd that after the ETF, when Bitcoin plunged, a few hundred. Dash and Ethereum went up, meaning the rich people pumping Bitcoin dumped it and pumped up the other two to try to get people to think Bitcoin was crap and that the other two are great. Ethereum is also pumped by Intel, Microsoft, JP Morgan, etc. So, again, I'm just going to, like I said in my video, I'll go kind of just to what Webbot says. And I asked Cliff personally, I never did a video about this, but I did mention this the other day too. What about like Dash Coin and this coin? He's like, yeah, they're in the data, but pay attention to Bitcoin. It's all about Bitcoin. What about Ethereum? Yep, Ethereum will do well. It'll be okay. You can make money with that. But Bitcoin will be better. Bitcoin will be, basically Bitcoin's the silver. And when I say that, on a percentage basis, silver is going to kick butt when this all goes down finally. As in the markets and everything else, the economy. Gold will do great. You'll be real happy with gold. But it won't perform like silver on a percentage basis. So to me, Bitcoin is that silver. Except it's actually the gold as far as the cryptocurrency space goes. And I've used this example before, and I'll use it again. When Bitcoin came out, there was no coin, nothing anywhere else, period. It was just Bitcoin. Then the altcoins, Feathercoin, Litecoin, all this crap came out, right? Litecoin was, I think, next. Litecoin became the silver to Bitcoin becoming the gold. It never even kind of got close to the prices that Bitcoin got. And then this coin and that coin and Dogecoin and all these freaking coins came out. And I liken that to this example. Before Facebook came out, there wasn't a Facebook. Before YouTube came out, there wasn't a YouTube. Google tried to do what YouTube was doing, could not do anywhere near what it was because YouTube had already grabbed everyone's attention and everyone was all over it. It was too late. So Google, we'd like to buy that, please, and they did. Now Google owns YouTube. How many? Twitter. There's other places where you can tweet. They don't call it tweets, but there's other platforms out there. Hardly anyone uses them. Why? Because Twitter came out first. Everybody found it. That's what they use. That's just the way it goes normally. That's just the way it goes. So for Dash Coin to come out or this coin or that coin, to me, you guys are noise. Money can be made. Don't get me wrong. Money can be made with them, but it's noise to me. I want to focus on Bitcoin because it was the first one. It's the one where people are saying you can, no, even JM Bullion, I think, has a thing on their site. Buy silver with Bitcoin. There's other places that do it too. I've been in restaurants in Brandon, Florida. We accept Bitcoin. No shoot. No kidding. One of my favorite pizza places. You guys take Bitcoin. Are you kidding? No kidding. Man, all right. Sweet. So I just want to talk about Bitcoin for a second. It crashed, and it immediately rebounded. And I'm curious to know what happens to Bitcoin if we come up here Wednesday in this country, United States, and we have the debt ceiling fight, and it's worse than the other ones, and they can't come to an agreement. They're not going to pass it yet. They're fighting, and we want this, and we want. Is Bitcoin just going to go whoa on the inconsistent U.S. Congress? Just oh my gosh, who knows? But we're going to find out in 2 days. Take care.